and welcome to the Dimple at Boss Time, round 5 portion of the BLiNX 100% walkthrough with all S times and cat medals. Starting off with S rank in the first stage. Things actually go pretty standard for a lot of it, admittedly, but this is where we start running into lots and lots and lots of enemies that have, well, a lot of hits to take them down. You also get some other strange cat medal scenarios in some of these levels, but we'll worry about that later. Thankfully, with these enemies, you also get a lot of level 2 trash to work with, as you can see with things such as these giant barrels that allow us to take care of mulligans and level 2 thunder bombs with only one hit. The thing is, I really don't like to waste anything, so I try not to hit this mulligan with level 2 trash after hitting it once with level 1. Mulligans are kind of annoying when it comes to trying to hit them. I'm surprised I haven't explained this already yet, but my usual tactic is just to stand in place for a bit and hope that they get interested in you, which they usually do rather quickly, but sometimes they'll just wander around forever. Sometimes if you run over them as they're running towards you, they will also pop out of the ground, but that seems less consistent, so I don't do that during these run-throughs for S ranks. These blades go slowly enough, thankfully, so I need to get past them easily. And if you so desire, you can go up these steps here to pick up some... not sure if there are any time crystals or anything like that, but you can pick up some additional trash up top. But I didn't need any of it, so I just run on through. I don't quite know what Octoboon is whooshing by you when you hear that right then. It seems like it would be one that's higher up, but I never actually see it. I've never been able to find it at least. So I've never been too concerned about it. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be too much level 2 trash around here. On that note, actually, level 2 trash, you can use super bombs and spike bullets in normal levels as well, even though I've only used them in bosses thus far. But I just haven't really had much reason, I feel, to use spike bullets or something like that in normal levels, because, well, you can only use them at the start, essentially. And they're rather expensive to get drawn by a substantial number of them. Doesn't say that much time overall, I don't feel. Once we get to the point in the game where we actually have giant rooms of enemies, we get to where it's kind of just a matter of being able to kill enemies quickly. So, if we can actually manage to suck up some of the trash that comprises these robots rather quickly before they actually form, that actually takes away their HP, in addition to giving you some trash that's actually worth 100 gold. If you manage to suck up all 3 pieces, then the robot will actually die instantaneously upon forming, but that seems really difficult to do for some reason. For some reason, most of the time when I use a pie-side control, the game won't let me suck up the pieces. Not sure what that is. I'm guessing this Octoboon here is the one that was making that whoosh noise earlier. Maybe it tried to move down towards me, but I got stuck on the ramp. I'm not quite sure. But we can get rid of it anyways, so no worries. Never a bad time to get some money either. You need to afford those spike bullets somehow. And that makes yet another very easy S rank among what will be many, many easy S ranks as we go along here. I feel like this stage is essentially the mark of the beginning of easy S ranks, although there is admittedly one portion in stage 3 where it's kind of hard. Well, if you mess something up in a certain way. So this is what I'm talking about this is what I talk about with having some odd cat medals in these levels, though, here in Temple Lost Time. We have lots of cat medals that are dangling above things. In some cases we just drop down and double jump, other cases we get into some more dicey situations. But for now, we can just use 2 time controls, actually, to get a rather classic cat medal, I suppose, where you just run on through a door that requires a pause, and then, lo and behold, we actually get another time control to get this medal. If we can get cat medals until now, this structure probably seems familiar to you, and you know what to do. Stand on a little platform, there's a rewind, and get a cat medal up top. And a nice view. Now towards the end here, there's another very obvious cat medal. I'm not quite sure if you can actually get it without using a slower rewind. This platform does crumble pretty quickly, but I don't see any reason for risking things. Might as well use a pause. They're easy to come by. Anyhow, on to stage 2. Another level where it's pretty easy to outright crush the S-time. Not quite sure how a bunch of gears got into Twinkle of all places. Anyhow, or furnaces for that matter, or fridges. I ain't gonna bother asking. I do like to spend a lot of time at the beginning of all just to get more trash hounds to be near me, just to prepare myself for the rest of the level. You can break it up a lot more if you want to, but I don't like having to stop as often for trash. But I do also often make the mistake of getting way more trash than I need. Not that it doesn't. No, not that it does, rather, inhibit you from getting S rank, so I don't think there's any issue to it. Anyhow, multi-trash against a mulligan is a classic combination that I learned to love, because for some reason mulligans just take forever to get rid of sometimes. Be wary of all of the explosive barrels here. If you have some luck, you'll be able to suck up that level 2 barrel, though, as some explosive barrels leave you alone. What I actually like to do here with these, I can't really call them sides, but with these blades is jump off to the side of them, since you actually have a lot more time between the side hitting each side as opposed to going to the center. I do have something of a hierarchy of which enemies I prefer to take out with LP trash. Mulligans are pretty high in that list, some of the highest actually, but spikers and occasionally chronoblobs can also be pretty up there too. Octoballoons are probably the easiest enemies to take care of when you take multiple hits. You also only ever take 2 hits instead of 3, which makes life a lot easier as compared to spikers to take 4 hits and all the crazy things like that. Do be aware, of course, that chronoblobs are also invincible when they jump towards you after getting near you. I don't know why that has to be a feature of them, but here's how things go. Now, we get to the quicker blades that actually require a pause or slow to get past. I never cared for using slows. In fact, I much prefer to get to the entire game without ever using them. Oh dear. Loud noises. Unless subject to time controls, though. It's actually a pretty nice room for doing a multitude of things. You can actually be a lot more efficient than I am here, where I attack all enemies and sweep everything up and use a record. What you can actually do is just use a record to effectively double the trash you have and then take out a lot of the enemies, while simultaneously not using trash and while simultaneously hitting the button here. So I could get to this room a lot more quickly. But, thankfully, doesn't pose a very large issue overall. Very interesting cat metal over there, by the way. You'll learn all about that in a minute. By the way, yeah, don't make the mistake of going to the over-the-ears view while the game is rewinding, because the game likes to make things kind of screwy when that happens. As before, I like to stay on the button for more than just a short moment because it seems to make the door stay open longer. I don't particularly want to get closed out. Catch spaces. For some reason, we're still finding little octoballoons all over the place. Don't be shy to let some octoballoons and or dust turtles spawn some trash if you're actually short on it. That does get to be a pretty essential survival tactic in at least one level later on, in fact. Having enemies generate trash for you is not something to be ashamed of. It does admittedly take some time, but better to take a little bit of extra time as opposed to having to restart the entire level. Again, we have a trash robot that we can at least try to harm before it appears, but it turns out to be a little difficult. This is a very kind dust turtle here that doesn't really care to actually try to hurt you. I don't know what it is with those chronoblobs sometimes shrinking like that and becoming so difficult to get rid of. Anyhow. Chronoblob and we'll be done. I made this chronoblob, yeah, chronoblob couldn't get back. I actually made that chronoblob a little fortress of trash there where I couldn't hit it and it couldn't hit me. Do be very careful though with the spike and chronoblob especially. Don't knock them off the ledge. You'll have to wait for the respawn. That can take a really long time. That can cost you an S rank, most definitely. That'll become a lot more relevant at the end of the next level, actually. I have a little anecdote at that point. Ah, it's almost pi. 3.141. And this is where you can see how I got a good deal more trash than I needed to. Better to have too much than not enough, truly, but man, that's a waste of time. No, he's another good sweeper, though. Faster sweeper means less time wasted by having more trash than you need. Anyhow, so once you get over to this particular room with a bunch of enemies, and the door that requires you to pause to get through, you do the obvious thing and run on through it. Pick up some nice gold as well, and once again we have a crumbling tower. Okay, you know what to do with these things. Let's get a nice little fast forward, play your cards right. But anyhow, gold medal, yet again. The game seems to really like putting gold medals on top of these towers. Ta-da! And you go out here and you actually get access to that little, not quite cliff, that little platform across from here as well. You can jump onto the machine, I don't quite know what you call it, with a spike on it. Anyhow, so this Camel, I'm not quite sure how to get it other than doing this. It's very strange, because you can't actually stand on that slide there, you'll just slide down and fall with the spikes. So I like to shoot some trash down here and then pick it up like that. I haven't managed to sweep it up with the sweeper. It seems to be too far away. Anyways, last medal. Well, you can get it from the very end if you jump down to the very beginning, if you're adventurous and like wasting your own time. Although you should probably try to aim it well. Or you can do this. Use it rewind in a very crafty way. Preferably do not land on either explosives or spikes. But at the very least, if you do mess up, you can recover with style. Beautiful. Maybe not. Alright, on to stage 3. Definitely a longer one. Fastest time, 5:30. Of course, I'm getting an S rank this time, so we're going to do a little more quicker than that. But still, takes a good while to get through this one compared to some of the earlier ones. By a little bit, at least. As always, pick up however much trash you feel comfortable with. You can see here how sometimes I try to do the little trick that I described in the first video, where I suck up trash and actually start walking away before it's completely sucked up. And sometimes I mess up the timing and accidentally don't sweep up the trash at all. Never quite got the point of this button, since it drops down a platform that you don't encounter for such a long time in the level. But no complaints. Again, we have a trash monster that we can try to debilitate ahead of time to varying degrees of success. And what I like to do with the spiker here is actually try to get it stuck on those spikes. That giant bed of spikes that's just to my left right now. Because once it's there, it has a really hard time getting back to hit you. You can very easily hit it. However, it does spend a lot more time stuck in its rolling ball form where it's invincible. It can't actually reach you, so not the best idea for getting quick, I suppose, but it makes life easier. But now do be careful, don't hit that button before killing the enemies here. I really don't recommend doing that, at least, because the enemies can still attack and kill you while you are watching that cutscene there when you can't control BLiNX. Something that I've unfortunately had to happen a number of times. So if you want to, you can go through this door here. There's really no reason to go through that spike door, because it could save you a little bit of time. There's nothing in there interesting, it's just a shortcut to the next room. Except there's actually an enemy. Well, there's an enemy over there, but there's all the trash on the other side. I knew there was a reason for not taking that entrance. Because you get a nice little bit of level 2 trash. You can also have the oxygen balloons hit things for you. It's always wonderful. Very efficient use of trash, you can make things see each other. Oh, come on. Try not to get completely out of the line of sight so long as it's trying to shoot you, because if it doesn't shoot at all, then that means you don't get its trash. But of course, it's not a concern if you're actually falling trash anyways. Now then, another level 1 Octoballoon for some reason, and Dust Starter, level 1 at that, so you can get through here quickly. Now a nice open one. With some melted trash at that, and once again, trash robot that I very much like to get rid of quickly if I can, but I kind of miss my chance in this case. You need to be decisive about getting to those trash robots quickly if you really want to. You can either use level 2 trash on the Mogon or on the robot. Nothing can stop you from doing it to the Octoballoons, of course, but I would say it's a little bit less efficient for the use of your time, since it's so easy to get rid of them anyhow. Then again, of course, there's not really anything easier to hit than the trash robot, since it just slowly walks around, and it's actually very easy to hit. So maybe Octoballoons will be a good idea. Get another button that causes you to watch a cutscene after hitting it. Once again, don't hit that until you've gotten rid of all enemies, or at the very least, you're very confident that nothing can hit you. Try not to lose your sense of direction like I did as well. Thankfully, it's very easy to dodge that rolling ball. All you need to do is just jump off the side, jump back onto safety, and no worries. Now, I'm not quite sure if you can actually stand on these platforms as they retract fully or not. For some reason I want to say that you can, but I haven't tested it out myself in a long while. And this is where it becomes a bit more relevant than it was before. Are we gonna waste this trash? I hope not. Don't do this. Yeah. I turned out... Oh man, I wasted the trash. I turned out to be safe in that case, but... if you don't happen to be completely sure that you're gonna be safe, don't press that button with enemies right next to you. Both the Octoballoon and the Spiker can hurt you. And then, it's not so much a waste of time as it's just a waste of a retry. Here, I try to deliberately avoid getting a slow here because I don't want to lose my rewind, which I probably lost. But that's why it pays to pay attention to what crystals you're getting. Speaking of slows, however, I try to use one here in hopes of being able to get across this portion. I suppose I just had to time it a bit better than I did. Perhaps. I'm actually not quite sure how one would get across this portion using only a single time control. I usually try to use a pause here, but then realize I need to wait for the pause to run out. The slow saves you a little bit of time. Anyhow, if you do not make the right decision trying to jump past that very quickly moving swinging blade, then it is not a bad idea to try to save the situation by being quick and pulling up time control and then double jumping all in midair and making things get a little bit dramatic in a split second. Reactions are a beautiful thing to have, particularly cat-like reflexes. Yeah, it's a much better time than the last time I had. Beat it by about a minute and beat the acquired time by about 40 seconds actually. Definitely a lot of leeway, but what happened before when I last did this area was actually getting the 5:35 time was that spiker, that last spiker that I got rid of on the final platform with the goal ring, was that spiker fell off the side and it took about almost a minute to reappear at the top. So be very careful not to let that spiker fall off the ledge. Stay away from the ledge, don't get between the spiker and the ledge. Anyhow, this is a very plainly obvious, almost cat metal. It's just barely out of sight, just off to the left of this little corridor here. Nothing really prevent you from getting to it, but you need to know so it's there in the first place. Anyhow, if you go to this little room well, you have this room. You just walk over to the very mandatory ramps. Later on in the level, you'll notice that there's just a medal sitting there. Convenient. Now, if we go onto this room that I was talking about quite a bit earlier, you'll notice that on the right-hand side, aside from lots of exploding things, we also have another spike gate. Jump on through with a pause, like always. And what do you know? Retry. 2 pause crystals, I suppose, if you particularly want that. And the cat metal are all here for. That's some trash. Now onto the boss. This is a great time to have the spike bullets, believe me. This is one of the bosses I definitely could have done better than I did on this recording, but I just went for ease instead of the best possible time. Well, I mean ease, as in easy enough to just walk around the entire time instead of actually having to run. Don't need to break a sweat or anything like that. So this enemy actually takes 5 hits, so I like to sweep up a bench in the beginning. And then you can see here, right after recovering from taking a hit, this boss actually becomes vulnerable again, which is key. What you can do is you can actually just hit it right then during that window without worrying about pausing or anything like that, or using it slow, for that matter, although slow would probably be more efficient. But because there's so many enemies that spawn, especially if you are trying to be quick and not kill all the enemies, which you don't have to do, which is nice, it gets really hard to aim at the boss. Instead, BLiNX just aims at all the little things running around, so it's very, very much easier to use the use the pause. Time controls are there for a reason. They can still beat the required time by a decent portion as well. All thanks to only having to do about half as many hits as the game would otherwise require. So that'll be it for this portion of the BLiNX Time Super 100% walkthrough. Next portion will of course be round 6, the Minor Precious Moments, which will be enjoyable as well.